All right, guys. I think we're live right now. I'm not gonna be able to see your chat, messages, and that's probably the best. It really is. I just want to talk to you guys a little bit and just warn you, this isn't gonna be the regular, like, fun, happy YouTube live stream that I do every single night, but it is in some ways that it is. I don't know if you guys remember a couple of months ago. Matter of fact, Christina, are you there, Miss DNA
I'm
Sleuth?
here. I'm
All right.
here.
Hey, thank you for joining me
Sure.
on such short notice.
Sure, no problem.
I texted you today, and I asked you, when was it? A couple of months ago, 4 or 5 months ago, that
A
it that I
couple
had you
couple
on.
months.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
With the
Yeah, a couple
pandemic,
months ago.
I've lost complete track of time with
I know.
everything.
I know.
By the way, before we get into things, how have you been?
I have been well as you can be during a pandemic, but I've got one vaccine in me, so I feel like I'm a little better than I was
What
the
did
last
you
time we
get?
talked.
What did you get? The Moderna.
I got the
Uh,
Pfizer. I'm
you
on
get the
Team
Pfizer.
Pfizer.
Team
Yeah.
Pfizer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was two lanes we could go through when we got there. You could either go to Team Pfizer or Team Moderna, and
Did you flip
um,
a coin? Did you flip a
I
coin
did.
this
I
time?
was like, it's the same
Yeah.
thing. Like I would have been happy with both. I'd have been happy with any of the three, quite frankly.
They didn't. They didn't.
So
They didn't. They didn't offer Johnson and Johnson to
no,
you.
they didn't have that in our county at the time.
Oh,
They the big distributor of Johnson and Johnson is actually going to be Costco. So that's once they turn that back on, I think that's going to be as popular as the other two, is my guess.
all right. So, Christina, if you want to follow her on Twitter, it's at DNA Sleuth. Tell people your website and stuff if they want to be able to check out what you do for a living.
You can find me at dnasleuth.com. That's it. You can find the podcast that I do, Sex, Lies, and the Truth. And we have a new episode. Only do 2 episodes a month. So once every other week. They take a long time to do. Um, and yeah, so DNA Sleuth. And I'm on Facebook under that name as well. You can find me. It's Christina Bryan Fitzgibbons. So I'm pretty easy. I'm the only DNA sleuth out there. So
Yeah, and I got to thank you for coming on such short notice. So
sure.
you know, I don't even know where to start. Okay, so I had you on a couple of months ago, and I said I was interested in doing the ancestry DNA kit,
Right.
and I didn't want to know any of the results because I did it for on the air, and you can attest. Like, I sent you all the stuff, I took the test, I gave you all the login. I don't know anything about what I'm about to find out. Correct?
That is correct. I've told you nothing. In fact, there's so much information on everybody. It was not difficult to find information for you. It's I was able to pull together some stuff that I hope that you and your family will get a kick
Yeah.
out of.
Well, the reason I wanted to get this done is that I've had a pretty shitty week. I really, really have. My dad at the beginning of the week went into the hospital because he had some internal bleeding going on. And I go visit him the next day, and I knew immediately when I walked into the room that something was wrong. Like, you can just tell. I mean, we all know our parents. I mean, we've been around them long enough, right, Christina?
Right.
Like, I
Yeah.
mean, you know them. You've been around them all your life. And I was
Right.
like, oh boy,
You could
man,
feel it. You could feel it in
yeah,
the air.
yeah, I really, really could. And I mean, the first day he was coming in and out of it, like he'd be good, he would know what's going on. Now I went there today, and it's gotten even worse.
What
uh
was it? What was going
well
on today?
well see, I ended up getting to the point. See, these doctors, they see, the funny thing is like with most people, when doctors talk to people, they can talk all their fancy gibberish and stuff like that.
And lingo, right? They got all the
And
words, right? Okay.
they think the family member is just going to be like, oh yeah, 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 that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. But this is what I do for a living. I ask questions. I need results. I don't need to hear, oh, we're running more tests. I just think that is so insensitive. I know that they're trying their best, but even me not having a medical degree. So they say that he has some type of foreign object in his digestive system, which was causing the
That's
internal bleeding.
crazy. What do you think
Now,
that could be?
I have no idea,
Seriously.
and it's not Alzheimer's because that's a progressional thing. Okay,
Right.
to go from being normal and then in 2 days just not being there. Um, and they won't do a brain scan right now because their excuse is that we don't know what the foreign object is. It could be metal because we can't do that because if it is metal, it's going to rip it out of them. And
Right.
I'm like, common sense says, then why the fuck are you not taking whatever it is out of them so you can find out what's going on in the brain? I think, that's the most important thing.
Right. Did you say
And
that to them?
yes, I did. I did. And
And what
and
did they
and the
say?
doctor was just starting to get he we're running more tests. We got to consult with the gastroenterologist or whatever you call it first. And I'm like, what is this? Bunch of monkeys fucking a football or something here? Like I it's
Yeah.
just I don't get it. And like I told them, I was like, listen, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I mean, it just seems like, you guys are trying to ding us for test after test after test just to run up a bill. And well, I don't get paid anymore. I said, well, your bosses get, it makes you look good to your bosses, and when it's a family member, you kind of take it personally. Like you want to do you really do.
Right.
And the reason that I reached out to you today is that my uncle, my dad's only living brother, because my dad's middle brother died last year,
Right.
and my uncle is coming down to see my dad, and I don't know, like I don't even know if my dad will even like know if I tell him what's going on, but I just wanted to do something special. I'm holding out hope, but I don't know. I'm just doing what I can.
I'm really sorry. It's such a bummer.
And
I know it's a
and
lot.
then and then to find out that my mom has cancer again now. Yeah. When it rains it pours. It really really does. So um I don't want to bum people out going into it. I'm holding out hope and everything, but I just wanted to do this. I don't know. Does it make sense that I wanted to get this done?
I think, again, I looked at the DNA of you. So I looked at both your mom and your dad.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of stuff that you can share with them. A lot of stuff. There's so much stuff that I'm gonna just send. I'm just gonna have to like email and text you
Yeah.
stuff so that you can look through it. It just because it's. I don't. I think that it is a good idea if his brother's coming to town as well. You could share some of the information with him. He likely knows some of the information. He can always reach out to me if he wants to get more information.
Yeah.
Happy to share it with him. I think it's
All
a
right.
great idea.
So let's start on dad's side of the family if we could. I mean, is that okay? Or like, I
So,
mean, wherever I
yeah.
mean, you're
Well,
wherever you want to start out. You know what? I'm gonna give you the floor and let
okay.
you take over.
So this is what I did is I took your DNA and it was done through Ancestry, like you said, and looked through all of your DNA matches. And I'm going to kind of be clicking back and forth between screens, so you might hear a clicking sound.
Okay.
And right away, I could see that you had DNA matches that were close, meaning like you have cousins that you probably know who also did Ancestry,
Oh,
which is
cool.
great. So you had the highest and closest DNA match looks like a first cousin named Richard Harrison. Do you know who that is?
Yeah. That's on my mom's side of the family.
Yeah, exactly. So he's at the very top of your DNA list.
Yeah.
And
That was my mom's brother. Now, do you know if that's the uncle? Because there's two Richards.
I
My
don't,
my uncle.
he looks a little younger. So did he have a
So
son
yeah.
named
So
Richard?
so
Yeah,
yeah.
that's not an uncle.
Yeah.
It's a DNA. So I
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
tell that it's he, based on the measurement of DNA, which is a centimorgan. He matches you at 719 centimorgans, which tells me that's about a cousin, not an uncle.
What is a centimorgan? Can you like explain that to my audience?
It's is the measurement. It's how you measure DNA and autosomal DNA. So and I'm going to send you this stuff and you can share it with the audience because it's
Yes,
pretty
please.
interesting. If there's a chart and basically it says when somebody matches you with some of these DNA companies, that measurement is a great predictor of what the relationship is. So when I look at the number 719, I know that that can't be a brother, it can't be a father, it can't be a several different relationships, but it can be a first cousin. And I could see a picture of him, and he looks to
Y-
be in his
Yeah.
30s, 40s. So maybe
Yeah. He's a
that's a
little
cousin.
bit older than me. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So
thick
yeah.
beard and everything going on. Like
Yeah, he's got a beard going on and looks like
yeah.
it's a
That's my
family picture.
cousin.
Yeah.
He's got a sister named Nicole who is in the actually just retired out of the United States Army.
Wow. Okay. And then maybe one of his children, possibly somebody with another person with the last name Harrison, also did a test.
Do you know
Okay,
the
so
Okay,
the
go ahead.
initials are RH, and it's managed by Deanna Harrison.
Yeah. Yeah, I know who it is.
Okay. All right. So that person also did a DNA test. So that's great that you have that you have matches on your mother's side and on your father's side. And I'm going to I'm just again looking at the
Just
matches real quickly.
Look.
All right. Here we go.
You're the host now.
All
I'm just
right.
along for the ride.
All right. So this is what I did. Is the first thing I did was look at your ethnicity. And do you remember that we trying to make some guesses on what your ethnicity was? And you said I'm a cracker or something like that.
Yeah,
and
Florida
I said,
cracker.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
I mean, I know a lot of people think that, that is a, a racial term or something. And it really isn't. A lot of people don't understand that is in the state of Florida was the first state that actually had cattle that people raised, and the cattlemen used whips to drive the cattle from place to place, which, it would, the crack of the whip. A lot of people think that, it's a slave thing or something like that. And it's not. It derives from the first like domesticated like cattle in the United States.
All right. Okay. Well, I remember that you said that. So I was like, all right, well that, I still wanted to surprise you with like something.
Cool.
So I can tell you the ethnicity breakdown, and then I can tell you an idea of sort of where that comes from each side of your family. And
Okay.
we had some indicators. I think once
I said,
we had one. Yeah. Yeah.
I think I said American Indian, or I said
no,
Irish.
Nothing.
Irish?
Well, okay. So 45% Northern Ireland, Scotland. That's not a surprise.
Yeah.
That's not a surprise at all. Now, England and Northwestern Europe. That's another 36%. And that makes sense to me. I mean, you definitely are
very Caucasian.
Very Caucasian. And when I look at the family tree, I look at the family trees and I can see family trees of people who are your DNA relatives. I can see where that comes from. Now, we also were questioning whether or not you had some German in you. And you're like, oh my gosh, there was the last name Heil.
Hale.
H-E-I-L.
Hale. Yeah.
And in fact, you are 19%.
Oh, when I heard that last name,
From two places though. You got it from two places, and I'm going to tell you how. First, I'm going to show you this, and you can look really closely here.
oh, that's
You
pretty
might be
cool.
able to see. This is the family tree I made for you, and right down here it says Tuttle.
Yes.
That
Oh,
says
yes.
Tuttle. And
How far
I
back
want
were you able to go? Like,
you know what? I truly, you had a DNA relative on your mother's side and your father's side, and on each side there was a genealogist in the family. So somebody else has done your family tree as back as you would ever want to go.
wow,
So you're
that's
set.
pretty
Like
cool. That
it's
is
great.
pretty
And you,
cool.
yeah, you got there by doing the DNA. Again, it's $100 DNA test. And instead of you having to do all the work of trying to create this family tree, it connects you to people who have public family trees. So you're set. You don't have to do anything but reach out to them
That's
and say,
awesome.
hey, send me a copy of the family tree, and you can look at it online and everything. So so I wanted to tell you some of the surnames, some of the last names in your family.
Oh, yeah, I'm interested in this one.
Okay, so on your dad's side, and you're going to recognize some of these. I have to put my glasses on because this is like small reading here. Okay.
You need
So on your dad's
glasses.
side, I need reading glasses. I'm losing, I can't see anything. Oh my gosh. Okay.
I need them all the time.
I know I need him. I need him. Okay. So obviously Fowler is your last name.
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
you had DNA matches with that name, and you had close DNA matches. And I'm just going to go through again and just read to you some of the
Okay.
last names. And this is again just on your dad's side. So you have the last name Fowler,
Yep.
Fiegel. Do you recognize the name Fiegel?
No, I do not.
Feagle.
No, hell no, I
So
don't.
that is your great grandmother. Your grandfather Ernest Fowler.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, his parents were named Aaron Fowler and Mary Fiegel. Fiegel is her last name. That's her maiden name.
Wow. F
She
and
actually
F.
died. She died really young. She was born in 1896 and died in 1927. So she was in her early 30s when she died.
Wow.
Okay, so Watson,
Yeah,
Park
Watson is my
on
grandmother
grandma, right?
on my dad's
Parkerson
side.
is her mother's name is Parkerson. And then let's see, there's a Parker, there's a Clark, a Watson, which we'd already named,
Yeah, Watson.
A Curry, and a Sap. And I mean, I could keep going on, right? That's just your dad's side. And that gets you
Uh,
back one, two, three, four. I could, again, there's family trees on there. You can see all these names. I wanted to tell you some of your mom's maiden names,
yes, please.
which we know your mom's maiden name is Harrison. And
Mm-hmm.
her father is a Harrison and her mother's a Gamble.
Yep.
And there are DNA matches that confirm both of those last names. So we know that those are correct. So some of the surnames are Harrison. You like this one, Duflan. Doesn't that sound French?
Duflan, that sounds like French, like foo foo foo. Yeah.
I know. This one is pronounced, it's Creole, Kriele, or Creole. Schweitzer, Gamble, which
That's German.
Yeah, Parrish, and then Hale or Heel, and then Schmidt. And the reason you had such a high percentage of the German ethnicity in you was because not only was Hale from your maternal grandmother, but the last name Creole or Schweitzer was from your maternal grandfather. So Harrison, Charles Harrison's mother, her last name was Creole, and that goes back to Germany. So
Wow,
you had
Creole.
yeah. Your mom's
Wow.
probably half German.
Yeah. Wow,
Isn't that
this is
crazy?
so interesting, man. This is
Yeah.
I'm loving this. Thank you. Matter of fact, it's actually helping me keep things off my mind. So thank you
Yeah.
for doing this last minute.
It's super interesting. Now I'll tell you something that I actually think is really funny. And you're gonna think I wonder why I do this. It's crazy. So sometimes when somebody doesn't know, like maybe they're adopted or they don't know anything about their family, or they don't know who their dad is, there's a report that I can actually run that tells them if their mother and father are related, meaning that there was some incest or something kind of crazy that goes down, right?
Oh, well,
run that
listen,
for-
the incest
I
would
run
not
it-
surprise me.
I did run it for you because I run it for everybody. And there is a 0% overlap in centimorgans between your parents. So they are absolutely, positively not related in any way, which is a
Well,
great
good.
thing.
Good.
I know.
Yes.
So there's some Confederate soldiers in there.
Not surprising.
No. So sorry, you can hear the paper kind of crinkling around. So I'm going to tell you your Fowler grandfathers in order. So you have your dad, Gerald, right?
Mhm.
Ernest is his father.
Yep.
Aaron is his father. Cary, Cary, is his father. Moses is his father. And Moses was in the 10th Infantry fighting for the Confederacy at the age of 28.
Wow, this is blowing my mind.
Yeah. And you know what? Whenever anybody, military records are vast and they're super interesting. It tells you a lot about your history and where people were
you know,
located.
a lot of people don't realize this. Out of all the wars that we have fought in the United States, that the Civil War is actually the deadliest conflict when it comes to American soldiers. I know that it was America versus America, but it is
Right.
by far the deadliest conflict that our country has ever been involved in.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
I think it's super crazy. So I mean, again, you have DNA relatives on your mother's side and your father's side who you've matched, who have public and very deep, very researched family trees. So you've hit the jackpot. You don't have to do anything, but you could sign up for a free 30-day membership or 2-week membership and go in there and just print the whole thing out and be done.
Yes. Awesome.
Yeah. So we just talked about the name Deflon.
Yeah, Duflon.
I gotta pull this up because I thought it was super interesting. It might take me a minute to sort of find it,
Oh, no
but
hurry. I'll fill in right now. If you're just
yeah.
tuning in, you are listening to the Tuttle Daily Podcast live stream. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that little bell button there, because when you hit that bell button, what's going to happen is you're going to get alerted to any time that I go live or upload any new content. If you are watching right now, do me a favor, hit that little like button. It's that thumbs up button right there. I'm trying to play the game. You got to work on the algorithms just to be able to make it. And I appreciate all you guys for tuning in right now. So please do that. If you're watching right now, share this. If you're joining in late, this will be available. This audio is going to be on tomorrow's Tuttle Daily Podcast, as well as it'll be archived on my YouTube channel. So did I give you enough time there, Miss DNA Sleuth?
Well, you did. I wanted to tell you about let me see how many grandfathers away this is. Let's see.
And this is on mom's side?
This is mom's side. So your mom's father's name is Charles Harrison, and his father's name is Edward Harrison. And then his father's name is also Edward Harrison, but he married a woman named Laura Deflon. And
almost sounds like a princess from like France or something that came here or something.
I don't know. So I'm going to read to you his obituary because I thought it was interesting.
All right.
I'll tell you a little bit about it. John F.L. Deflon, he was a native of Switzerland and aged 88 years. He had been in infirm health for some time past, but
wait, what year was this?
He was, oh God, let me pull it up. Hold on.
I'm just saying 88, it's old, probably.
I know. Let me close this one here and tell you what year he died. He died in 1853 in New York, in Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn,
I know.
Yeah, but see, the thing is I know that my grandfather Charles was from the New York area. He lived through the Great Depression.
They had a lot going on in Brooklyn. So let's see here. So let me just try to find him one more time. Oh my God, there's so much stuff here. Okay.
Take your time.
John Francis Louis Deflon, a rosy-cheeked, cheery Swiss. He purchased, this is in Brooklyn. He purchased this property in 1822, and although neither he nor his wife had been bred to this occupation, they soon developed the tact and enterprise which proved that they could keep a hotel. He was induced by the Freemasons, who had hitherto been occupying lodge rooms in Lawrence Broward's tavern to erect a larger
Did you say
building.
Freemason? Did you say
Yes,
Freemason?
I did.
Oh, okay.
To erect a
That's
larger building in which suitable accommodations could be furnished to the craft. It was the beginning of a series of embarrassments, though, because they did file for bankruptcy. However, he was a general favorite. His pleasant garden with its superior ice cream, its tastefully appointed. Oh my God, I have to make this bigger because I am
wait, ice cream?
Yes, there was some sort of ice cream like a store or something. I have to make it bigger.
Wait, now, wait. So this
Perfect.
was a great grandpa. Like what?
This
what would this be
is,
to me?
let's see, this would be, so your grandfather is Edward. I'm sorry, your grandfather's Charles.
No, grandfather's Charles.
And then, so your grandfather, great grandfather, great great, great great great. So your fourth
So that would
great
be
grandfather.
great.
Your fourth great grandfather.
Wow.
Okay,
That's
let me pull
crazy.
the title. I know, I'm going back to here. Let's see. I gotta pull it up again. Sorry.
No hurries. If you're just joining us right now, I'll recap everything before we sign off. But right now on the line with me, joining me on my YouTube channel is, I can give out your full name, correct? You're right with that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right.
For sure.
Christina Fitzgibbons is on the line with me right now, and she is DNA Sleuth. You can follow her on Twitter at DNA Sleuth, and it's dnasleuth.com, correct?
You got it.
All right.
Okay. So I'm going to keep reading.
Okay.
You want me to keep reading now that I got it up
yes,
here? All right,
yes, please.
So yet Duflan was a general favorite. His pleasant garden with its superior ice cream, its attraction of flowers and shrubbery, for he and his wife had the characteristic of their countrymen, a passion for floral pleasures. His own urbanity and cheerfulness of disposition made his place the resort par excellence of the best village society, and his hall, from its superior size and accommodations, afforded an excellent place for the balls, amateur concerts, and traveling shows, which from time to time visited the village. When General Lafayette visited Brooklyn during his visit to America in 1824, he received his friends at the Military Garden. That was the name of this place. And in Papi Duflan, for which was the respectfully familiar nickname given him by his fellow villagers, he recognized the sick man whom he had attended, among others, at a lonely house on the frontier during the Revolutionary War, and whom he had set up with, watched, and nursed for several days. Both were affected to tears. Papi Duflan's life was but useful, and his death in his 88th year was lamented by all.
And that was my
your fourth great grandfather,
Papi Duflan.
Papi Duflan. Duflan.
Duflan.
Duflon. I
so
love that.
He was into like floral stuff and ice cream then.
He was, but he had this big majestic garden like that became like a ballroom, and it was a very well attended place in Brooklyn. Like I think you got to go to Brooklyn and check all this stuff out.
I do, because I'll tell you off the air why that is very, very, very eerie. Because I just recently met somebody that is a friend of mine that I'll get to it. We actually talked about it earlier.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to tell you about his dear wife, who was the Harrison. So as you remember, the Harrison married Duflan.
So the Harrison was a woman though?
No, Harrison was a man who married Laura Duflan, and then Laura Duflan's grandfather was John Duflan, who we were just talking about.
Okay.
But I wanted to read to you about her. This is her obituary.
Okay.
Miss Laura Duflan Harrison, a member of a well-known Brooklyn family, died Tuesday in her home, 10425 Roosevelt Avenue, Corona, following a brief illness. She was 84. Now, we got some longevity in this family, because 84, again, that's
good. My grandfather died in his 80s.
So Miss Harrison was a daughter of former sheriff Alexander M. Duflan and a granddaughter of Louis Duflan, who is the original owner of the famous Brooklyn Military Garden, formerly located on the site of the Hall of Records. Miss Harrison was the widow of Edward F. Harrison and is survived by his two daughters, Miss Marion Oppenheimer and Miss Ethel Mesnick, and two sons, Louis D. and Edward F. Harrison. And Edward F. Harrison is your great grandfather. He is Charles's father. And it says where
Yeah.
services will be. I have all the places where everybody's buried and everything.
Are you going to
Well,
be?
you have it.
It's you're going to be able to email this stuff to me, correct?
I made like a little folder for you
Yes.
so that
Thank you.
so I can just send you like a whole folder and you can like go through them. And then
Thank you.
I think the best thing to do is to just log into Ancestry and you can just start poking around and
Okay.
opening up these family trees. And again, you have
But
people on
you have
both
done
sides.
more. But you have done more than just. I don't want people to think that Christina is just reading stuff that she got from ancestry.com. This is
No,
a lot of her own
I
research
confirmed.
that
Yeah,
she
I
has put in
confirmed the
time.
DNA. Yeah, I confirmed the DNA matches with you, so I can see where in the family tree your DNA matches fall. And I made a
How
family tree for you.
now explain just before we get into any more. Explain to my audience how you go about this. Like, there's so much information on the internet. Like,
There's so much.
where do you even start? Like, how do you go about this?
I try to find. So sorry, I keep hitting my new little microphone.
I do
here.
that all the time too.
Sorry. So when I see that you have a DNA match and I see their name, I know it's a confirmed relationship. I can see Fowler, your fourth biggest, or pardon me, your fourth closest DNA match. His name is Lucius Fowler Jr. And he has a family tree that's got 1,200 people in it. And that's the Fowler tree. Like that's the bonus. Because
see, I was always thinking that the Fowler side being in the Florida area, like it would just be a straight line. I'm sorry. There would be no branches. I was worried about the whole incest thing. I was like,
no, you don't, nothing, zero. I don't see any of that. That's not abnormal. I think that, a lot of people, they're, I'm from the South. They're hillbillies. And
there's that. Yeah, there's that
be
stereotype. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So your grandfather, Ernest Fowler, he had a brother named Aaron, and Aaron has a grandson named Lucius, and Lucius did a DNA test and is one of your closest DNA matches.
Wait, is Lucius still alive? As far as you can
he has
tell,
a son. He has a son named Lucius. Aaron has this Aaron again, Ernest's brother Aaron, your grandfather's brother. Aaron has a son named Lucius and a grandson named Lucius. So it's Lucius Jr. and he is alive. Well, he's alive since he took a DNA test. So maybe he's died since he took the test. But
I have to
Lucius,
look that up.
Well, because Lucius Sr. Died in 2000. And his son, and he was born in 1914. So his son could have been born in the 30s and he has died recently.
I could look it up.
Yeah, but he's alive enough that he did a DNA test, and it's managed by maybe a spouse, Nyla Fowler. I can see that name connected to that test.
Nyla.
Nyla, Nyla.
See, everybody in my family has these cool ass names, and I got Patrick. You got
Tuttle.
Yeah, I got Tuttle. There's Patrick. But what I'm saying though is it's like I got a Lucius. There was another interesting name in there somewhere. Poppy Duflan or whatever.
I love Poppy Duflan. That's like the coolest name ever. You could be like, I'm related to. You can go to Brooklyn and be like, I'm related to Poppy Duflan. So back up, people.
Yes.
I love all of the surnames that you have in your tree. So sometimes when somebody's DNA results come back, there's again, there could be something like, oh my God, like a child or something. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? I didn't see anything like that on yours.
Well, there was one
However,
night when there was one night
in Fort
in Fort
Myers,
Myers. Yeah, I know. I talked about that. God,
that
you
one,
have a still trap mind.
I don't forget anything, especially when it comes to Fort Myers. I didn't forget that. Um, this is what's going to happen. Though I can tell you right now, this is what's going to happen. And we're going to do another show about this. Somebody
Okay.
is going to reach out who sees your match to them. So now you're in the database. And somebody who is adopted or is looking for information about themselves is going to reach out to you. And you're going to be the person that tells them who their family tree is, like how you're going to say, I know my dad is this person, my mom is this person, and you're going to be the one that connects the dots for them. That's
Yeah, I'm
that
I'm
happen.
kind of
I mean, I literally get 1 or 2 a week from people just from being in there, and yours is newer, sort of in the database.
I'm
So
I'm
it,
I'm kind of scratching for traction right now. So if I got any kids out there, there's not a lot to get. I'll do what I can. I'll
you'll do your
give you all my
best.
podcasts. I'll give you all my podcast thousands that I have.
Well, I think that you're going to have a good amount of content for a long time because you're going to be pulling up things in like obituaries and stories in this tree, and you're going to be like, "What in God's name?" I think it's totally cool. I think that you were questioning whether or not you were German. Remember, you were like, "I don't
Yeah,
know, it might be German."
yeah,
You
yeah.
totally are. I mean, your mom is literally probably half German.
Yeah. And what
So
about the
you're
dad
about a
side?
quarter.
What the dad side's like Irish,
Oh,
England.
English. Yeah. Yeah. Like
No
Scottish,
wonder
Irish, English.
no wonder like I gravitate towards like the Anglophile type side. I like British culture. I love soccer, Doctor Who, and all that stuff. So maybe
There you
maybe that
go.
I'm just naturally gravitated towards it.
I think once this pandemic is over and everybody is vaccinated and people are able to travel and you can go everywhere, I think you're going to have to take a couple trips. You're going to have to go see some of these
I've been to
places.
England.
You got to
I've
now,
been
but
to
now you
England,
got to
but
go.
I
Now
got to
you
go
got
to
to go to where
Brooklyn. I got
people
to go to
are.
New
You got to
York.
go to Brooklyn. You got to go to Brooklyn.
Yeah. I
You got to
wonder if that
find out
place
more
is
about
still
Poppy
there.
Deflon. No, I
I gotta
think it
say,
said that it got replaced by the Hall of Records.
oh, it
But
did. Okay.
there's again the address. I had the address in the obituary that I read, which means you could go to. I mean, that house could still be there. You could go there and go check out like exactly where your great 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 grandmother lived on Roosevelt Avenue.
Now, Christina,
Yeah.
Miss DNA Sleuth, if
Yes.
people like want to get a hold of you, can just any random person, if they want to hire you to
Yes.
do what you did for
Absolutely.
me, they
Of
can go to your
course.
website, dnasleuth.com.
Yes. And today I actually received an email while I was waiting to get on with you from a man who was in his 80s who wants to find out who his biological father is, has no idea. And I
Can
find that
can
super interesting.
can you talk a little bit about, um I know with adoptions and stuff like that, a lot of those records are sealed. What does it take to be able to get that type of stuff found out, that info?
Well, if you're talking about a difference between a record, something that's sealed, which is information that somebody has said or written down, which may or may not be true, right? Versus DNA, which is a
Facts,
confirmed
science,
facts,
science.
people, facts. Like that's it. Like that's the way it is, like it or not. And so you know, records might be sealed in some states. They are starting to open up in most states. And whether or not they're open or closed doesn't matter because people can use DNA and find out the information.
Yeah,
So
good.
a lot of
I
times
can't go.
records are falsified, or they're people wrote down dad's name and they wrote down the name of somebody that ain't dad. So
Yeah,
you
well,
need to
guess
look at the
what?
DNA.
This means I cannot commit any major crimes now because
No.
it's all there. Like it's all there
Just
now.
so you know, that website called GEDmatch, which actually was responsible for finding the Golden State Killer and has been used in to solve many crimes, cold cases. You're actually in that database now. So if somebody in your family, or again, it could be distantly related to you. If
Oh,
somebody
see, now
who's related to you is a wanted felon or needs to answer to some questions, they're going to come to you. And they're going to be
I
like,
ain't
who's your great great? You're going to be like,
I'm not.
I ain't snitching. Poppy Teflon
No,
didn't do anything. He's
yeah,
innocent.
Poppy. Yeah, Poppy Duflant was on the straight and narrow. You ain't getting anything out of me. But
he sounded like a stand-up fella.
Yeah, Christina, I listen. Like I said, this has been a really shitty week for me so far, and I cannot thank you enough for doing this last minute. Because I did text you out of the blue. I didn't think you were even going to be able to do it today. I didn't expect you to be able to do it today, but I
pulled a rabbit
really
out of
owe
my
you
hat.
one. Yes, you did. And like I owe you big time. If there's anything that I can ever do for you, please do not hesitate to ask. Matter of fact, I might, there's a couple of radio shows that I've been working with and stuff. And I think this would be interesting because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this video up. It's gonna be archived on the YouTube channel, and you're more than welcome to grab any of this interview for your own purpose use, if to show people what you do. Feel free. I'll get you a great audio quality and video quality of it.
That's awesome. And I'm going to interview you. I'm going to interview you for my podcast, even though you don't know. Yes. You don't know what your sex lies and the truths necessarily are. I think that
whoa. So you're saving some stuff.
No, I would never do that. I would never save the content for my own thing.
No. I would. I would.
I think just learning
you got to
more,
be cutthroat in the biz.
You don't have to be that cutthroat. I mean, maybe you do, but I don't need to be. I just,
You don't know some of the people I've worked with before, so I've
heard, I've listened to a few things, so I can tell what you're up against for sure.
Well, Christina, tell people once again, everywhere they can find you. I know you're on Facebook now. If people go to your website, are there links to all your social media off of your website?
There is, yeah, there is. Just DNAsleuth.com. You can find me there. I'm on, again, all the socials. You can message me through socials.
Have you gotten on TikTok? Are you a TikToker too?
I have put about 7 episode trailers of our podcast on TikTok. So
see,
just starting out.
I want to see you, and this is not me being rude or anything, but I would like to see. There's a lot of people they recreate dances and stuff. Like, are you a dancer?
You know what? I can't stop watching all of them. And I'm like, I could totally do that dance. And I absolutely should not be doing the dance, but I keep looking at them going, wait, I can do that move. I can do it. I'm looking at it.
Are you a Gen Xer? Are you a Gen Xer?
Oh my God. You know what? I can't label myself anything, but my kids think I'm ridiculous. They say, oh, we want to see what gets fed to you on TikTok, because they think that what I'm looking at is really different from what they're looking at. So sometimes I'll send them a TikTok I think is funny, and I'm like, I think this is really funny, and they'll be like, that's dumb.
That's lame, what I mean? Mom.
That's so lame. Mom. And then they'll send me one, and they'll be like, isn't that funny? I'm like, I totally don't get it, even though I kind of do. Like I'm with it enough that I can figure all that stuff out. But I'm gonna have to give a shout out to my daughter, because she is she was admitted to University of Oregon to the School of Music and Dance. And so she is going to study music at University of Oregon.
She's gonna be a duck.
She's a duck. She's a duck. I got her some like duck sweatpants. We went up to Oregon and visited and toured the campus, and she loved it. And she's going to be a duck. Campus. She said no to the Beavers. She's excited.
A lot of people don't realize this, is that Oregon is basically like funded by Nike, like that because I think
we do know that. We do know that here for sure.
And they got the most amazing track out there. And I don't run a lot, but they got this like running track I've always wanted to go to, because it's not not empty in the middle. It's got like a forest. It's got like all this like floral inside of it. It looks so cool. I think the guy is Phil Knight is the guy
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
went to Oregon,
He did. I believe he
and
did.
they got a yeah the founder of Nike, and they have such an amazing campus there.
It's a pretty
Um,
cool, it's a pretty cool campus. So go
have you
Ducks.
have you always been a West Coast person?
I
Like,
actually grew up in Oregon, believe it or not. I
I
grew
mean,
up in a little town called Oregon City, just outside of Portland. And
I'm interested.
yeah,
What is your like? Where do your family come from? Like, just you. We don't
I
have to
got
go
some
into
German.
detail.
No,
Okay,
I got
all
some
right.
German, right? I've got some English and some Irish. And my grandfather on my mother's side has some Ukrainian. So I have like a weird sort of the Ukrainian Irish mix, which is so everybody is always trying to figure out what I am because I have dark hair and blue eyes. Like my eyes are like a
Well, yeah.
wolf.
The but
Where the
I was about
heck
to
does
ask
that
that.
come from? I
Where does
know.
the blue eyes come from? Like, I mean,
I don't know. I think it's the really I think it's the Ukrainian part. I do. That's the only thing I can think of. But it is actually my most asked question. People are like, "What is your ethnicity?" Nobody knows. I'm always like, "I know, right? You can't figure it out." Like they're like, "Is it Black Irish or is it, like whatever they think that might be, oh, you're definitely Irish." But they're like, "But the dark hair, where does the dark hair come from?" So I think it's the Eastern European is my
now
guess.
did your kids get the blue eyes too,
They
or
all
no?
did. I got 3
Yeah,
blue-eyed. Yeah.
all
And dark
daughters
all
too.
I have a daughter and then 2 sons. So Kaylin is my daughter and then Jack and Liam are my boys.
Okay, so the
Yeah.
daughter is the oldest then.
She's the oldest. They're all 3 teenagers. They're all 3 in high school.
But I mean, see, that's the great thing about it. See, like I don't have any kids, and I know as a guy,
Do you
as
want
I what
3?
I
Because there are days during this pandemic when I would have given up all 3. You could have them.
well, but I mean, I was always afraid. I think guys are always afraid of it. Like, man, I know how I was in my late teens and 20s. It's like, oh man, if I have a daughter, it's like, oh, you know exactly what's going on. But I mean, you probably know the same exact thing, and but
And
I just
I'm
know
like this. I know exactly what's going on. Like, they
you keep
can't
a
put
tight
one.
ship.
You know what? I run a tight ship. However, I let them have some leeway and make some decisions on their own.
You
You
gotta
know,
let kids make their own mistakes.
they do, and like the things that parents like freak out about, like them driving and that kind of stuff. I'm like, I want them to drive. I want them to be able to drive and get themselves places and learn to be
So you
safe
don't
and
have to
do all
do
that
it.
stuff. Oh, just driving all over the place. Just forget it. Like you're back and forth, back and forth. So I'm like,
Were they
you're taking your brother.
big
Go ahead.
activity people? Like, where did they play sports? And well, I know she's into
My
music
boys are,
and
yeah,
stuff,
she
but
is. And yep, she did that. And my boys up until the pandemic are in Little League and did baseball. And this, like, again, like the last sort of 2 years, one of my sons has really not done much at all. He's been just hunkered in, when he started high school, there was a lot of schoolwork and he kind of hunkered in to do that. Then the pandemic happened and then forget it. He hasn't left his room.
the homeschooling, have you had to stay on top of them? Like,
I'm
like
I've had to stay on top of them even when they were in school. Just like get your homework done, get your homework done. But they actually, their school has been open the entire school year. They have been
I thought
going.
California was shut down. I thought California
It
was like
was,
on
except my kids go to a private school, and the
oh foo
private
foo
schools.
foo.
No, I mean, literally, that's their. It's open the school. People are like, I'm not going to pay you unless you open the school. So they opened the school, but they only opened it maybe 2 days a week. So they had half the kids on campus. And we live in California. So here there is sunshine and there's no rain. And so kids can be doing their classrooms outside on the football field almost year round. Whether,
Mhm.
they just had a lot easier luck with that. So
I
the
know,
schools are slowly but surely opening here. So
now I know you're a big sports fan. I've seen you going out to some of the 49er games. Are you a big
did.
Giants fan too?
Yes, we kind of talked a little bit about baseball before. I think we talked about Buster
Buster
Posey,
Posey.
and
Yeah,
he took last season off to have some baby. His wife had a couple of kids, or they adopted. I can't remember what they did, but he had some babies. So he took last season off during the pandemic, and he's back.
Who
So
was
now I
the
feel like
long? Who was the long hair? Why can't I?
Tim Lincecum.
Yeah,
Tim
yeah,
Lincecum. He's the best.
he
freak.
looked like
The
a
freak.
the freak. Yeah, he had that long hair.
He had that long
awesome.
hair, and he loved himself some marijuana. That guy loved himself some marijuana. But he can still pitch.
Do you know, like, the guy though that seems like the Aubrey Huff? Man,
We talked about this. No,
yeah, I know we did.
I know. Isn't
Well,
it
you gotta
crazy?
remember, I've had a lot of brain injuries and stuff from concussions and dumb stuff that I've done on the radio over the years. So, but yeah,
So
Aubrey
he's-
is going.
I know.
He's
crazy.
going full MAGA.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's so crazy. But that's pretty much it. I'm shocked that he's even publicly
Yeah,
MAGA.
I
I'm like,
know.
you're in San Francisco. That's not going over well. Or when he was.
Well, Christina, I cannot thank you enough. DNAsleuth.com. Follow her on Twitter at DNA Sleuth. But just go to her website, DNAsleuth.com. You can find her every single place on social media.
You can find me. I'm thinking about you, and I'm thinking about your dad and your mom, and I'm sending all the good luck I can send and all the good vibes, and I know everybody else's too. So.
Well, thank you, Christina. Can I give you a call once we get off of this? And
absolutely.
All right, cool. All right, thank you, Christina.
All right, talk to you later.
Thank you for joining the Tuttle Daily Podcast. This will be available audio version tomorrow on the show. Just check it out. Go to my website, Tuttle.net. Make sure you subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Sorry it was a little heavy at the beginning, but I kind of needed this. I appreciate all your support. And I love every single one of you. I hope you guys have a great